Good evening, Cardinals fans, and welcome to week 8 of Peace, Love, and Baseball's STL Cards 2024 season scrapbook episode. Hey, the game might start late tonight, but we are here and ready to roll with a little pregame show prior to ESPN's coverage of what would be the third game in the Cubs Cardinals series, but is going to be the second due to the rainout on Friday. But hey, we have got a very exciting past week of Cardinals baseball to recap. So before we get into it, make sure you are following me on Twitter at KBirdTweets. It's right here. Did you see I almost pointed the wrong way if you're watching on YouTube? It's right here in the corner of the screen. That's BURD tweets. And that's where you can follow me and engage throughout the games. Always having a good time over there. If you're watching on the K-Bird Tweets YouTube channel, make sure you're subscribed, give it a thumbs up. If you're having a good time, if you want to join in the conversation and you have some thoughts to share about what we're going to talk about, I would love to see a comment from you. Jump on in. The live chat is open, so if you happen to be watching live, feel free to chime in, taking questions, comments, dreams. Not really concerns. Not open to that at the moment. Well, after this weekend Cardinals baseball, what kind of concerns is there to have? That's always a loaded question for any baseball fan. But we come into the week of May 19th through 25th. At this point in time, it is Sunday, May 26th. The Cardinals end the week at 24-26. They took 2 of 3 from the Red Sox to start out the week with that final game of the series on Sunday. They swept the Baltimore Orioles, and we're going to break it all down and relive that glorious sweep. And they took the first game out of what will ultimately be 2 due to the weather. I mean, hopefully 2. Hopefully we're going to get the second one in tonight versus the Cubs. So before we get into like the really fun stuff, we've got to go back to Sunday, May 19th, a week ago, when the Cardinals had a chance to sweep the Red Sox. So final game of the 3-game series at home, and the Cardinals come in looking for the sweep with no such luck. Much of that was due to Nick Pivetta. Went up against Matthew Liberatore. Libby went 3 innings. He allowed 6 hits, 4 runs, including a first inning bro bomb from Tyler O'Neill. And a week ago when I was sitting here with you, I kind of predicted that bro bomb. So maybe it's on me, but regardless, I think we knew it was going to happen. Tyler O'Neill actually came out of yesterday's game with right knee soreness. And I know all Cardinals fans were triggered, but also maybe like happy because, he's not immune to it now that he's just a Red Sox, but never happy to see somebody not feeling well. And hopefully he gets back out there and stays healthy because he's having a hell of the run over with the Red Sox this season. So Libby, 6 hits, 4 runs, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts on his 70 pitches, while Pivetta, who threw just 4 more pitches than Libby, went 6 innings as opposed to Libby's 3. He allowed just 1 hit, 1 run, no walks, and 8 strikeouts. This was ultimately the difference maker in the game. Congrats to Nick Pivetta, by the way, in his second start of this week versus the Brewers just yesterday on May 25th, as we sit here on Sunday. He didn't look as sharp overall as he did in his start versus the Cardinals, but he did secure his 1,000th career strikeout, making him just the 6th Canadian-born pitcher to do so. Pretty cool. The 1 run that the Cardinals were able to get off of Pivetta came in the 4th inning on a Nootbaar solo home run, and the Cardinals did not score again until the 7th inning when Brendan Donovan singled to drive in Goldie with the bases loaded. So this is good. Let's take some positivity away even from the loss. We drove in runners with the bases loaded. Always a good sign. They'd pick up another immediately following that on a wild pitch from Greg Weissert that allowed Arenado to score. But unfortunately, the Red Sox were able to score multiple runs off of every single Cardinals pitcher, from Libby to Roycroft to Fernandez, all the way to Robertson in the 9th to avoid the sweep. So Cardinals lose 11-3. We're having more fun moving into midweek, though. Monday, or into the start of the week, really. Monday, May 20th was a great day because it's the day that I closed on my house. I sit here before you as a homeowner. It was also a great day because it was the first of the 3-game set with the Orioles at home. Sonny Gray versus Dean Kramer. The Cardinals got on the board early in the bottom of the 2nd on a Michael Ciani single to drive in Nolan Gorman. Ciani! Oh, he's just getting started. Bottom 4, and Mason Wynn doubles on a live drive to left field to score Burley, and it's 2-0. Ciani not only keeps the line moving this time, but he drives in his first major league home run to right center field, a 3-run bomb to bring in Herrera and win and score, and it's 5-0 Cardinals. What a moment. Sonny Gray is cruising through 5 until Gunnar Henderson does what Gunnar Henderson does, right? And he hits his AL leading 16th home run of the season, also a 3-run shot to get the Orioles back in it. It's now 5-3 Cardinals. Sonny ended his outing through 5 2/3, allowing 3 hits, 3 runs, all on that home run, 2 walks. So actually just one of those runs was earned, which you know he was not happy about. Apparently my dog Louise is also not happy about it. He did have 6 strikeouts though. Romero, King, Kittredge, and Helsley would piece the rest of the game together to keep the Orioles at 3 runs, while the Cardinals tacked on another in the 7th on a Mason Wynn single to score Goldie, and a final score of 6-3 holds up for a great team win. And I think that's another important thing to point out about all of these games, all of these wins this week. They were all true team wins. So we're having some excitement around certain players, but it was multiple pieces that had to work together to ultimately make every single game come out the way that it did, especially against a team like the Orioles. Moving into Tuesday, May 21st, a game that started on Tuesday and ended on Wednesday. Remember this? The Cardinals and the Orioles played the first 6 innings of this game on Tuesday as planned, but the game was called into rain delay and it was ultimately postponed, and it was set to start up again where it left off at 11:15 the next morning prior to their already scheduled 12:15 game. So we left the game tied on Tuesday night with Lance Lynn throwing 82 pitches. He was looking sharp overall. He allowed just 2 hits, 1 run, no walks, and 5 strikeouts over his 6 full innings of work. And this is where I've got to take you to the Old Dog Still Got It t-shirt. If you haven't seen it yet, it is in the Peace, Love, and Baseball merch store, which you can find on my link tree. I'm going to put it in the show notes once this episode is finished. Or if you're listening on the podcast side, it is in the show notes for you. This beautiful design by my husband. If you can't see it here on the screen, it's probably kind of small depending on where you're watching from, but it's got the picture of the old dog with the Lance collar on. It says the Old Dog Still Got It, which is a direct quote from Lance Lynn. On the back, it has a dog bowl with the Cardinals symbol, and it says, "More innings, please." I am definitely getting myself one of these. You can also get it, I think, in like a sticker or a mug. Oh, that'd be a fun mug to have. Anyway, Lance Lynn, another solid outing. He said after the game, like, hey, I was ready to go longer, but obviously when the game did not start up until the next day and the rain got in the way, we had to pivot. But the Cardinals picked up their run in the second inning on a Nolan Gorman double. So we're still back to Tuesday, right? This was Nolan's 7th of the year, by the way, and he scored Alec Burleson. When we reconvened on Wednesday, Nolan Gorman chased the clouds away with his 8th home run of the season with Herrera on base to give the Cardinals a 3-1 lead. So we did not have to sit tight and wait that out for long. Nolan Gorman made it exciting right off the bat. Kittredge then came out and took the mound, striking out 2 in his inning and a third of scoreless work. And in the bottom half, followed by Romero and Helsley, who did what they do and secured a Redbird winner before noon. June and Louise are obviously super enthusiastic about the Cardinals. So before we move on to the Wednesday game, I want to ask you, since it's Memorial Day weekend here, if you're in the chat, if you want to jump in, let me know. Again, if you're watching not live and you want to leave a comment, whether you're on the YouTube channel or on the podcast platform, let me know who on the Cardinals currently you would want to barbecue with. Like, whose Memorial Day barbecue do you want to be invited to? I think there's probably a fair amount of good options here. I have to go with Paul Goldschmidt, America's dad. When I see him, I think of him like in the sandals with the grill, flipping burgers. I was just going to say a Miller Lite. Obviously not a Miller Lite. Obviously a Budweiser in hand. Maybe he's got one of those cool yachty, koozies from the 2022 season. Totally. You let me know what your dream Cardinals team barbecue would look like. Yeah. Brendan Donovan would be another great option. Brendan Donovan and Goldie trained together in the offseason, so I feel like they're probably having their Memorial Day barbecue together anyway. Maybe Goldie's doing the turkey burgers and Donnie's doing the brats. That's what I'm thinking. So moving into what we're kind of already in Wednesday, right? Because the second half of Tuesday's game was finished on Wednesday, but we're coming into this Wednesday game. The Orioles have not been swept in over 2 years in 107 series. But all good things must come to an end. And Adley Rutschman was swept for the first time in the regular season of his big league career on May 22nd, 2024 by none other than the St. Louis Cardinals. Kyle Gibson got the start. He went just 4 innings. He allowed 5 hits, 3 runs, and 3 strikeouts. And the Orioles did get out to an early lead. So it was 3-0 O's actually until the bottom of the 5th. And I got to be real with you. The Orioles are probably constructively the best team in baseball to me. I have no doubt that we will see them playing late into October. That's just the idea I think that most of us have of the Orioles at this point in time, right? And I thought it was really exciting. The Cardinals were playing good ball, but I was not expecting a sweep. I was not holding my breath for it. And especially after a little bit of a shaky outing from Kyle Gibson, again, just I was not counting on it. And I would have been okay with taking 2 of 3 from the Orioles. But Newt got the Birds on the board with a single to drive in Mason Wynn in the bottom of the 5th. The real fun came in the bottom of the 6th when, speaking of Donnie baseball, that B. Donnie hustle broke through with a little league home run. Did you see it? It was scored as a double with Arenado and Carlson on base, but Donovan came around to score himself on a throwing error by catcher James McCann, and the Cardinals took the lead 4-3. Mason Wynn showed off with his second home run of the season to get a key insurance run in the 7th. And while the Orioles made it interesting in the 9th, they scored Austin Hayes on a sac fly. Lars Nootbaar made a hell of a snag and a throw to tag up Cedric Mullins at first for a huge double play, allowing Ryan Fernandez to get the final out and secure his first major league save on a 5-4 Cardinals win. That's a sweep of one of the most dominant teams in baseball. I'm going to check in the chat here because we've got some good Randy and Kim Burd action. Randy, if your pretzels are making you thirsty, might I suggest cracking open an ice cold Budweiser? That's right. I am kind of sad. We're going to get to talking about the City Connects because they did debut them yesterday. And my biggest beef with them is that they're not at all Budweiser Clydesdale themed. But before we get there, we've got Thursday and Friday. Thursday was an off day. We had a rain out on Friday night, which was such a bummer because we had waited until May 24th for the Cardinals and the Cubs, this classic rivalry, for them to play for the first time this season. We had Joe Buck back in the booth with Chip Caray to honor Joe's dad, Jack Buck, and Chip Caray's grandfather, Harry Caray, and all of the legendary Cardinals broadcasters. We got to reschedule this. Pretty please, Bally Sports. I'm hoping we'll make it happen. It was pretty funny. Joe Buck did. The showman himself, he was like crying in the booth, really upset that he didn't get to call a baseball game because he had really amped himself up for it. But Joe Buck did do an awesome interview with Foul Territory prior to Friday's scheduled broadcast. I think it was on Wednesday before the game. Check it out if you have not. And again, I will link it in the show notes. It was very thoughtful. They had a lot of good questions for him, but he also was just like so forthcoming. And to get to hear him speak outside of just doing his job, I think gives a lot of insight whether or not he's someone that you like or not. And he talks a lot about that in this interview of how like he knows that he's, for whatever reason, a polarizing figure. So share your thoughts in the chat if you like to about Joe Buck. Yeah, I agree with you, chat. Even though that was a rain out, it was an awesome experience. It was great to see Joe again. I think it brings back a lot of memories for all of us, especially lifelong Cardinals fans. So we got to Saturday, May 25th. We're finally going to see some Cardinals Cubs baseball. This game was nothing less than everything you'd expect from a Cardinals v Cubs matchup. Well worth the wait till the end of May for the first one of the season. Adam Wainwright was in the booth for the Fox broadcast, and it felt so right. Love you, Wayno. You are crushing the analyst gig, and I hope the Cubs fans were able to appreciate you even after you tormented them for decades in opposition. We also got a Wilson update as he was on the headset, did an interview with Wayno, which was just absolutely precious. I loved it. Good to see that love between Wayno and Wilson still there. And Wilson being so optimistic about his injury, really just taking it in stride. We would expect nothing less from what we've seen of him and how he's handled himself with all of the obstacles that he's faced in his Cardinals career so far. But that was really great to see as well. Miles Michaelis and Jamison Tyone kept things tight early on. The Cardinals struck first, though. They picked up 2 runs in the bottom of the third on a ground out RBI from Goldie to score Donovan and a Nolan Arenado single to bring Lars Nootbaar home. That's right. You heard that correctly. Goldie and Nato, back-to-back RBIs. We love to see it. We'll take it any way we can get it. Gets me right here in the heart is where I'm pointing to if you're listening. But that damn Nico Horner, he tied the game on a sharp double in the fourth to bring around Tauchman and Morel. Let's talk about Christopher Morel for a second because his vibes are immaculate. We love him. I feel like I can admit it now because Wayno admitted it. So I am too. I'm saying it. This guy is a future star. I'm a Christopher Morel fan. There, I said it. But unfortunately, it did not stop there. And Michael Busch, who he was acquired from the Dodgers in the offseason, he's now having quite the rookie campaign for the Cubs. He singled to drive in Horner and take the lead for the Cubbies. So it's 3-2 Cubs. You know, Michael Busch is a hotshot rookie, but our hotshot rookie might be better. Mason Wynn doubles in the bottom of the sixth to score Nolan Gorman and tie it back up. Michaelis ended his outing after 6 innings on 82 pitches. He allowed 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. After a rough 4th inning, he really settled in and he kept it all in check for his team. This game is far from over, though, friends. As former Cardinal Patrick Wisdom doubles in Michael Busch in the 7th and the Cubs are back on top, it's 4-3. Do you have whiplash yet? Hang on. This calls for some veteran leadership, doesn't it? Maybe with a little salsa on top. Matt Carpenter steps in as a pinch hitter in the bottom of the 8th with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Carp comes through with a clutch single into right field to score an above league average running Alec Burleson, mind you. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later. But the Cubs challenged the call at the plate because it was very close. But his epic slide, so close, but surely safe. And the Cardinals did indeed tie the game at 4. Brendan Donovan is a known owner of the Chicago Cubs. So to no one's surprise, to no Cardinals fans' surprise, he rides the momentum to single in both Gorman and Carlson and put the Cardinals up 6-4. We're not done yet. What could possibly make this even more fun? How about a Lars Nootbaar triple to score B. Donnie for a run that would end up making all of the difference? And who knew at that point? Because we rang the bells of hells. But Ryan Helsley looked a little off. He actually appeared to be tipping pitches in the way that he was winding up. And I would not be surprised at all if that, I mean, it really, from my eye and from other opinions that I saw as well, that seemed to be the case because the Cubs hitters just had him timed up all too well, especially for what we're used to seeing hitters look like with Ryan Helsley, right? So they scored 2 runs in the 9th before Hells and the Cardinals secured that final out, giving us all that heart-pumping drama that we know and love from this classic rivalry. What a game. The Cardinals won it 7-6, and they have won 9 of their last 11 games, friends and fans. Just want to point out that that is dating back to the Mother's Day game at American Family Field, where yours truly was in attendance. So I want to share a theory with you here before we get into the scrapbook moment of the week. And that is that maybe, just maybe, I stole the Cardinals devil magic back from the Phillies and brought it back to the Cardinals. There is some logic here. So stick with me. So the Cardinals devil magic was most definitely stolen when Edmundo Sosa was traded to the Phillies at the deadline in 2022. Obviously. I mean, they've been using it. They've been making good use of it. Not mad about it. But I went to Philadelphia the end of March, beginning of April. And I came back. I drove by, I should say. I drove by Citizens Bank, was very close to Citizens Bank, like a lot of the time that I was there. Okay. So I came back. A lot of good things happened for me. I closed on my first home. I'm now a homeowner. And honestly, if you'd asked me in July of 2022 if I would own a house within the next 2 years, I probably would have said, hell nah. So I feel like there was a little bit of devil magic helping me out there, right? Then I go to Milwaukee and I'm sitting in right field right behind Lars Nootbaar. And it's not the best game played by the Cardinals, but Goldie breaks out and they come from behind to win that Mother's Day game against the Brewers 4-3. And now they've won 9 of their last 11. So, and the Phillies just lost a series to the Colorado Rockies. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. It's a theory, just putting it out there. All right, let's finish up here with the scrapbook moment of the week. We're also going to get to Bird's Bird of the week and finish up with that vibe check I know you're holding out for. So the scrapbook moment of the week, man, it's that moment we want to highlight. We just want to pick and tape it down into the scrapbook to remember to take with us all season long. No matter what twists and turns happen, this is a moment that we're going to look back on and remember forever for the 2024 season. Some weeks there's less thrilling options than others, but man, we had so many great options this week. I mean, Michael Ciani had his first home run. We had that Wednesday morning Gormania action, that big home run from Nolan Gorman to secure that second of 3 games with the Orioles. That was huge, huge momentum shifter too, just to kind of set the tone for the day and the second game as well. Oh man, there was the B Donnie in the park home run. There's been so many, I was going to say defensive gems, but that hasn't been the thing that's been a little shaky from the Cardinals, but they've been able to make up for it because the offense is clicking. So what is the scrapbook moment of this week? Which moment was it? I think we got to go with the clutch carp and Burley slide in the May 25th game versus the Cubs. Got some sweet pics up here. If you didn't see these from the Cardinals that they posted after the game of Alec Burleson's action. I mean, I think I might print out this picture of Alec Burleson sliding after his slide, realizing he was called safe. I might print it out and put it above the fireplace at my new house. So bottom 8, bases loaded with 2 outs. Matt Carpenter steps in to pinch in for Michael Ciani versus Cubs right-hander Mark Leader Jr., who he had only allowed 2 earned runs coming into his 20 innings of work so far this season for the Cubs coming into the game yesterday. So this wasn't some last-ditch option for the Cubs. Like, he was their trusty guy in this spot. It was very intentional. Carp singles. Burley is hustling and he slides, sneaking in around Cubs catcher Amaya, who, even though he went around in a way that made the tag with his glove also come in late, it didn't seem to matter because the ball was in his non-glove hands. And that transfer of that was also going to just ultimately not make the tag. And New York agreed. The Cubs challenged it, but New York agreed. Burley is called safe. And the crowd at Busch Stadium was easily louder than it has been all season long. If you were there, let me know. I'd love some confirmation because that was how it read on the broadcast. I want to share this quote, if you haven't seen it yet, that Alec Burleson shared with the media after the game. He is quoted saying, "I just want to start by saying that I was running above league average. So I'm faster than most of the league. Not most of the league, half the league." And he said that Brendan Donovan told him that. So he's like, I don't even know if that's actually true. But it was a really fun moment to see from Alec Burleson, and a great reminder for, I do hear a good amount of fans who are not Burley fans talking smack about how, I know he's not built like Lars Nootbaar, but quick reminder that is one of the things that we love about baseball, and that is different than it is from other sports, is not all baseball players look the same. There is not a typical cookie cutter build for what a good athlete looks like on the baseball field. And Alec Burleson is making himself into especially a great athlete out there on the baseball field. And the Cardinals know it and they appreciate it and they're going to keep using him for it. My question for you here is, while you're thinking about grilling with Goldie, is what kind of salsa do you want Matt Carpenter to make? Like, if he's coming to the barbecue, He makes the salsa. If you don't remember the Matt Carpenter salsa, it's got to be the salsa. Is the Cardinals went, and specifically Matt Carpenter went on a bit of a heater years ago. And when Carpenter was interviewed about like, what is it? What's doing it for you? He didn't give one of those canned responses. He said, Adam Wainwright brought me some of the tomatoes from his garden and I made fresh salsa with my Adam Wainwright tomatoes. And he said, it's gotta be the salsa. So I don't know if Wayno stopped by and hooked Carp up with some fresh tomatoes before this game, but it sure seemed like it. And I want to know how you take your salsa. A little hot, mild, medium, tomatillo. You gonna put a little mango in there. That's how Kim Burd likes her salsa. So I know she's crying into her mango salsa today because her Cubs lost, but she'll feel better if Maddie Carp puts some salsa on it. Let's move on to Bird's Bird of the Week so we can wrap up here before hopefully we get to see another baseball game tonight. So Bird's Bird of the Week is a player that we're going to pick off the roster. Might be a really obvious choice from the week of somebody who had a lot of highlights or made a big play or made a big difference in one or a few games. Might be somebody who just needs a little bit of extra love. And this week, I want to give Bird's Bird of the Week to Michael Ciani. Michael Ciani, man, did you think that he would even be on this roster in spring training? Let me tell you that Michael Ciani leads the entire league, all of Major League Baseball, in sacrifice hits with 6. He is a defensive wizard, if you hadn't noticed. He has stepped up in moments beyond his expected capabilities at the plate as well, and we got to give it to him for this. He got his first big league home run this week in a 4 RBI game. Don't forget, he also hit that single for the first Cardinals run in that game. And that 3-run first big league home run would end up being the difference in a 6-3 Cardinals win on May 20th. It set the tone, friends and fans, for an amazing series for the Cardinals versus a team like the Orioles. Ciani's reliability has been a huge part of this team's ability to persevere. And we expected that on the defensive side of the ball from him, but the way that he has stepped up in moments offensively deserves a special highlight this week. Birds on the Black, a writer, contributor, our prospect king, Kyle Reese. On Twitter, Kyle Reese refers to Michael Ciani as our Lord and Savior, Michael Ciani. And I just want to say he has more than lived up to that sentiment. And that's why he is this week's Bird's Bird of the Week. Let's get to the parts of the episodes that you show up for, that you waited out for, and that is your one official Major League Baseball vibe check. We are going to weekly check in on the vibes of the St. Louis Cardinals because in a 162 game season, it is a roller coaster, and the vibes were off last season. They were, and a lot of us still feel very insecure. We get triggered easily because of that. So we're just going to check in every week and feel it out. And if there's one thing I'm in tune with, it's the energy on the field. It's the vibes of the interactions that the players are giving off. So I'm here to tell you. Last week, the vibes were a little do or die. It was like, have we actually turned a corner? Are we going to see this through? Is this just going to be a good series or two? Are we actually going to be able to piece together enough wins to get back in the contention conversation? This week, I'm happy to tell you, while I don't think we're like fully through the woods yet, there is some serious forward momentum. And the words I want to give you specifically for this week's vibes is it's Goldie Truckin' vibes. I don't know if you've seen the Cardinals Gifts meme on Twitter. I did not have time to. I wanted to clip it and put it up here for you. But there is a meme of a Cardinals fan that Cardinals Gifts made. I guess it's a GIF, not a meme. I'm only 87 years old here. But anyway, and it's a fan where Goldie is like hustling around the bases, or maybe he just stole a base. I can't remember what the exact moment that this GIF came to fruition from, but this fan is going like this and like cheering Goldie on, like blow the truck horn if you're listening and not watching me look ridiculous. So I feel like that's the vibes right now. Everybody is like fully on board, full steam ahead, but it's specifically Goldie Truckin' energy, Goldie Truckin' vibes, because they're like relaxed. They're a little like playing free and easy. And I think that's a really big key piece to the success that they're starting to find here. I'm sorry to tell you that due to an update from Randy Burd in the chats are the Jim Cantori of Peace, Love, and Baseball. He is telling me that it is pouring in St. Louis, so it does not look like we're going to get Cardinals Cubs baseball here within the next 10 or 15 minutes, but hopefully we'll eventually get to it tonight. Either way, I'm going to be back here with you next week. Sunday nights is probably when we'll do it. We're being a little flexible because I am moving halfway across the country, but we'll probably be back together Sunday nights next week. So leave a comment. Let me know what your favorite parts of the Orioles series was. Let me know which Cardinals player you want to have a barbecue with. How you taking your Matty Carp salsa, all the fun stuff. I'd love to hear from you. Your weekly episode of Peace, Love, and Baseball, not just for Cardinals fans, will be out as usual on Tuesday. And I will see you next time for the STL Cards Season Scrapbook Edition. Have a great night.